let's go ahead and just get started. Let's make sure we have enough time to finish out as much up tonight as we can.
Okie doke.
Everyone roll for initiative.
Yeah. Always gotta keep looking up and see what was my initiative number. 9. I think this is the lowest that I've rolled since I started playing.
All right, perfect. And Fluff, do you have the notes? Do you want to give us the recap of the last session?
Let me see. There it is.
Yes, tell us all about how Genevieve won the day, fought the person with the pistol, and won. That's how I'm gonna tell it.
Okay, so from what the notes that I have, I don't know if this is where you guys left. We're off. This is when let's see. Father Leon makes his way to the church after hearing there was an attack. He talks to the bishop. Bishop seems interested in making sure Jean doesn't get interrogated. Offering poison food to Father Leon. Father Leon can't seem to read him. But he takes notes that it's strange that the bishop doesn't ask anyone else to do this. Rutherford, meanwhile, tries to break for it and run. He runs into Father Leon. He follows him. Father Leon finds Genevieve, helps bandage her, shows her a little bit of the bottle of the poison the bishop apparently wants her to have. Dean and Rutherford book it out of the jail cell. They leave Martin behind and they make their way to Martin's place. Leon actually confronts the real witch hunters, Gismund and Gunther. He does try to convince them to be on his side, but they suddenly start suspecting him. They tell him not to go anywhere. He gives them an empty vial of poison. Father Leon also goes to the mining guild, tells them that Martin's alive in the dungeon. He asks them to gather up. He tells them to meet at Martin's house. Finds Gene and Rutherford. He tells the miner group to help them rescue Martin. The miners and the group storm the church. Genevieve swiftly kills the witch hunter, and they quickly get Martin. They escape and make their way to the castle. They rest and they go meet Sir. Wait, what's his name? Sir. What was his name?
Sir Reginald?
Yes, Original. And they discuss the next course of actions in the castle. That's all I have. I don't know if there's something I'm missing.
I don't think so, but you are in the castle.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I believe I had bandaged up some people, and we were recovering until the next day.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you guys have been sorted up. You are a private bedroom with staff. And he is in his war room in a tower on the edge of the castle. When the morning breaks, you manage to stabilize Martin Dianoff, who's had a day to rest and certainly feels a little better. But yeah, you've waken up and it's a new day. So, what's the plan, guys?
Well, I suppose at least between me and Genevieve here, we need to signal the halflings and make sure that they're ready to come here at the night. We need to get them inside the castle, and then we need to follow through with the plan. But now we're both wanted. Or where before only half of us were. Might be a little harder than I previously thought it might be. There's also no telling what the church might do during the day.
That's true. Unless there's a sneaky way to get to the halflings.
Well, there are the underground tunnels, and they weren't too difficult to navigate. It's at least possible to.
I thought they only led to the. Oh no, they lead to the church. And then there's.
All the way out to the graveyard.
And
Quite a lot.
Zade's little hideout.
Oh yes, his alchemy shop.
Yeah.
Well, it would at least be possible to get into town. I wouldn't think the tunnel would go under the river.
I don't think so.
It would seem perilous and require constant pumping if so. Honestly, in fact, being this close to the water table, I'm wondering why the rest of the tunnels don't flood. Maybe they do.
But didn't we escape through the tunnels?
That we did.
So my fear is that because we left through the tunnels, the church was pissed, and they have now people exploring the tunnels. I don't know.
That is a very good thought.
And then the last time me and Rutherford were in there was a crazy monster. So that was fun. That was not fun.
I wonder what will happen if the other witch hunter runs into one of those such monsters.
I hope they die.
Believe it or not, despite their desire to murder the both of us at this point, I think it would be very bad if another one of them died in the process.
I feel very justified in them having to face another ice monster, because I feel like I shouldn't be the only one having to deal with them.
Right, but I wonder if it might change their mood a little bit to see such things actually in town.
Well, that's if they actually make it out alive. I don't know.
And I suppose more so if they go back to the bishop with that information and get the cold shoulder. They wouldn't like that. I can only imagine the result of that. Well, but here we are, locked in a tower. I probably need to speak to Martin some. But again, we do need to set up the signal for the halflings.
What did you say to them? What kind of signal? Or did you just say that you would meet with them?
I don't think we covered, specifics, Lantra, right?
I don't think you did. You were kind of rushed into this this plot.
But I do at least have some signal of let's talk again, I think. Because they were thinking of leaving, and I said, hold up and wait a bit.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do that. I think as long as we can get across the river, that shouldn't be a problem. And let me go ahead and take a look at the map and see where that, here we go, town map. Where is that bridge? It is down the road rather than back towards town. It could be very possible to leave the castle, quietly walk down the road, cross the river, go back up through the farms, and try to contact the halflings without having to draw any attention at all.
Yeah, because we're at the castle, right?
Yes.
Are we the castle military encampment? Is that where we are?
You're actually in the castle. The military encampment is next to the castle. It is separate.
Mhm.
Oh, so technically, could we make it to that bridge right there?
Like south? Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, I suppose we have our plan. Rutherford can stay here and keep an eye on things in case things need to suddenly happen quickly. Wink, wink, he's not here.
Which he agrees to. That is what a hero would do. He would watch this place.
A hero would shack up with their princess for a night.
What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do?
Just trying to manipulate the power dynamics to be. Don't worry about it. And I guess we should talk to Martin a little bit before we head out and don't see him for a whole day now that he's conscious.
Yeah.
So I'll see what spirits he's in, and I'll change out his bandages to some fresh ones and see how he's doing.
Okay. He is he's a little out of it for when you first get to him, but he can form some actual words now. A couple of his minor buddies are standing around him that you had also smuggled in here.
Mm-hmm. They probably been looking after him too.
Yeah, and they prop him up. But he sees you and he says, Father Leon, you organized my rescue, if I am to believe what the miners say.
That's right. I came for you.
Well, I appreciate it. And I seem to be someplace else, not in a dungeon. Miners tell me I'm at the castle. But why am I here?
A number of reasons. I've only been back in town for a short while, but things seem to have gotten a bit out of control, if I'm to be honest. Surely you've noticed it with your capture.
Yes. I don't know that much about current situations, but I had an argument with some of those blasted mercenaries at a tavern.
I don't suppose they're just simply did this purely in retribution.
I don't know precisely. The witch hunters worked me over for a while. They had a lot of questions. I mean, not many of them had made sense until I was interrupted by. And he kind of looks around and he has a dim remembrance of Rutherford. And he points at him in his general direction. That damned fool.
Ah, yes, that fool. Well, at least such things don't need to bother you much longer. But things are about to change in this town, and very rapidly. I know we've had our disagreements in the past, Martin, and I believe perhaps we still do have disagreements. But I think if this town is to succeed after what is about to happen, it will need you. Someone who can at least keep a decent eye on the town itself and keep its resources intact.
He looks at you and he goes, yes. I I believe the mayor, he was a decent enough person. I just simply run the mining guild.
Indeed.
But we could do with more autonomy here in Bobstout, I've always thought.
Precisely. I believe we can definitely agree on that. Which I suppose comes to what I'm going to ask of you and your men. Some of them may have already told you what we intend to do, but we intend to overthrow the graft.
An interesting plan. And then young Carla will be the new. I have to look this up every week. What the female version of a graph is?
Graphess.
Graphess. She will be the new Graphess.
That's right, with Rutherford at her side. And I'm sure they'll need a little bit of counsel as well. And someone to arrange the marriage, too. It's been so long since I've done one of those.
Yes, I imagine they will.
But I do hope, understanding the situation, I have your support and the support of your workers.
We will help as much as we can. But little will be able to be done against the mercenaries gathered outside under the employ of that bastard.
This is true, but we'll be in a castle, and they won't.
Oh. He looks around for a second and he says, well, that's good, but I don't know, maybe you've heard of these new fangled things, but they rumor cannon can reduce castle to rubble quite quickly. And they've got a few over there.
Wait, they brought cannons with them? To this town?
I believe they have raised. Their company is being raised by Eltham here. This is their headquarters.
Oh dear. Well, that is not something I had expected. But perhaps if we move quickly enough and make our claim legitimate, perhaps it won't matter if their head is cut off. Ugh.
They may just
Problems
move
all
on.
over the place.
Yeah, they may just move on. What now that they're formed, they can go off and do whatever they damn well please, I suspect.
Right. An issue for another time, if they could be convinced of such. But if our main objective is success, well, that might be enough. One could only hope. But it's good to have you on my side, Martin. And I'll put like a hand on his shoulder.
For now, at least.
Well, once you get your strength back, I'll let you chew me out as much as you damn please.
And he seems pretty relaxed, despite sort of the information of like, hey, we're gonna murder the graph.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like kind of okay with this, right? So.
Mm-hmm. In which case, I believe we have our work to do for today, and maybe more work then. So I'll leave you be for now. And I'll bring one of the miners over, and I'll explain to them that they probably have to go back and tell the other workers to arrange. Because we only have like 5 of them here, or even less.
Not many.
Yeah, exactly. So now that they know that Martin is safe, they'll probably be more willing to help.
You see Sir Reginald burst in the door.
Ah!
Not too long. And he says, "Good morning, everyone. I'm just here to go over our battle plan." Holding
Battle
up
plan
some
time.
like papers and stuff.
Well, let's take a look.
They're just like roughly sketches of the castle,
Mhm.
and they all have like arrows pointed to the keep, and it says "dinner time?" question mark. He says, "I've spent long and hard going over this plan, and here's what I believe is the most sensible of attack strategies.
Go on.
We and your motley crew will descend upon the Graf as he is eating his evening meal tonight in the main hall. And my men will watch the walls and the battlements to make sure no one else can get in. You see, our loyal men will be watching the outside, and whoever you can gather, we will use to overtake and overwhelm the Graf, and then I will challenge him to a duel of honor."
Very good. What do you know of anyone he may have inside already? Does he have much of a guard of his own?
A few of his personal house guard, that damn wife of his, and a couple of counselors, I believe.
I see. A small number. They should be overwhelmed. More concerning, I've heard tell that the mercenaries brought cannons with them.
Oh, never fret about those things. Some newfangled invention hardly stands, hardly will do a thing, I bet.
I'm not so certain. Still, it would put a harsh time limit on us.
I'm certain it will be just fine.
At the
There's
very
nothing
least, if
that
they're
could.
unprepared, all the better.
Yeah, there's nothing that could hold a few righteous men holding the battlements of a castle, and it'll take long to siege. We should have more than enough time, and then they will bow to their true lord, as all men should.
And what if it came down to a fight? 1-to-1, their forces versus ours.
In an open field or protecting
Well,
the battlements?
say they breach the castle wall. What then?
So he's gonna like kind of wander off into detail and scenarios that like.
You cut off there.
He goes over a few different scenarios. They all involve him and his men holding the breach against overwhelming odds, and the righteousness of their cause seeing them through their day is essentially what you get out of them.
Right. And I guess like on my own personal scale, like how do I feel about that? Does this seem like it would be easy to stand ground? Would we just be completely wiped out immediately?
You can try and take like a warfare test, but it would be a. I don't know how many battlefields have you hit. I don't think many, right? And your character was not a battlefield type,
right?
So you could take a warfare test. Make it. There's also like a lot of common sense here, so you could take it at easy, or I'm supposed you could ask Genevieve or someone a little bit more.
Yeah, Genevieve, do you have warfare? Oh, well, I suppose I'll just take the easy way out then.
Okay.
I'm still really smart. That still counts for something. So
sorry.
I'll.
I do have warfare if you want me to roll for it.
Okay. So you could roll. I suppose I could roll too, because there's no harm in seeing if I think I know it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Genevieve. You can take a easy warfare, and you gain to 29 flips to a 92, and that's a failure. So you think
Oh,
his plan is pretty good. Pretty good. Genevieve, you respect Sir Reginald. He's actually, despite his age, he is quite good with the sword, and he's quite good on the horse. And he's not too terrible a leader of men. But you also know, like, he's maybe mildly delusional about this. Heroic gestures, they sound really great until you have to be the one doing them.
Mm-hmm.
So it in likelihood, the time the cannon would take to breach the walls and everything, you have plenty of time, right? It could
Mm-hmm.
take days, weeks to breach a castle, even with cannon. But once the breach has happened, you would be at the mercy of the much larger foe.
Yeah.
You and a motley 100 or so, or even 20, 30 people could probably hold off the mercenaries if they just tried to assault with ladders and more conventional siege weaponry. But eventually the
Mm-hmm.
cannon would ground you down.
Yeah. So I turned to Father Leon and I said, the cannon is nice and all, and so when he has a point, but
Mhm.
I think it'd be faster if we just, get some ladders and stuff. It would be just faster to siege.
Well, we're the ones being sieged.
Yeah. You would be
Yeah. Well, essentially, we'd have to take consideration of like them trying to reach up into the castle with ladders and stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
and their force is much greater than ours.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, if we can convince them to leave, that might be good. Not having someone paying for them helps.
that's true. From what it seems like, as long as money's flowing in, they probably wouldn't have any interest in doing anything else. I mean, they're not doing a great job of guarding this place, anyways. Like it did.
Precisely.
And
Yeah.
I'll throw you a freebie here, Genevieve. You
Mhm.
also know that there's also the case that could happen that once the mercenaries sort of lose their employer, they might just like sack the town and move on too. Right? Like that's a very real possibility. And that's something that's happened before and is fairly common
Yeah.
for mercenaries.
Yeah. So she does say, like, I mean, there's also a ability that once we cut off their employer, they're just gonna get pissed off and try to take anything in town to compensate and then move on. So
Right. My
yeah,
hope would be perhaps that, given that we might have the legitimate claim to their future purse, they might hold off on it in hopes that we will actually just return to the city and then pay them. But at least then we would have won the day either way. Damn
I
it.
think it would require negotiation in that if we don't want them to just
Mhm.
go crazy, like and move on, like if cause any harm, that definitely.
Mhm.
I imagine providing them coin and asking them to leave, or proving that their employer is cut off, and then providing them coin, asking them to leave would probably be the best possibility. But
Mhm.
I don't know if we have the resource for that.
I could always tell them to go ask the bishop for the coin.
I
Uh,
mean,
he certainly likes to throw around some very large numbers. That is actually a worrisome thought, come to think of it.
you did tell me the bishop has some plans. I don't know what they are exactly, and what was the point.
He has his fingers into something, I'm just not exactly sure which end of it. On the one hand, he's not concerned with the drugs that were pumped into town. He's interested in paying off to have you killed, and more than interested in having the witch hunters off of his own butt. And at his disposal, too. But on the other hand, I'm not certain yet if he's truly in league with our enemy or merely coincides.
He could just be benefiting from it before he decides to book it himself, you know?
Precisely.
Yeah.
And were he simply to run to ground, all the happier I'd be for it for now.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose we do have our plan for today, and I would like to do something about the cannons, but I don't think we have the capacity to.
Well, I mean, the cannons, you know, are going to take a while. I mean, it's possible.
Right, would they
probably
give up
gonna
after
break
24 hours and get bored?
They might. It will take a while. It's like I said, it's faster to just use ladders and stuff like that.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think for now, though, I'm going to be right back just to use the bathroom.
Okay, so we'll take this time to look at Zaid. Zaid, we'll just say you've collected all the things and completed your Kojo Panzer since we're finishing tonight.
Okay.
And we'll have you go out with a bang. So you're putting the last finishing touches on your Kugel Panzer after sourcing the materials and building your machine of revenge. What's your plan once it's finished?
Well, I mean, I guess I would just ride. So I think... I think if we want to have narrative convenience, then probably my ride should coincide with whenever they do their thing.
Okay, sounds good. And is it gonna did you make a way to out of the workshop to lift it out into just the city proper? Like, where are you
Of course not.
going
I'm
to
probably just
observe?
gonna fucking explode from the ground.
What was that? Usually explode from the ground. Okay,
Yeah, so
cool.
there's probably some sort of ramp that the Skaven used, you know? So I'm probably just gonna blow from the ground somewhere.
Sounds good to me.
Explosion time. Explosion.
I'm back.
Okay, back to you guys then.
Well, I guess we have to get out of the castle and have one of the miners leave with us. The miner will go and talk to the other miners, and he's not going to be arrested for anything, I believe.
Martin?
No, not Martin. I mean, like one of the others.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they can go deliver the message there, and that should be fine. And Genevieve and I, we can try to leave quietly, go across the bridge, and head up to the halflings.
Yep.
Okay, when you get close to the halfling camp, you kind of notice that there's not as much hustle and bustle as there normally is.
Of course.
With the halfling people. But one of them sees you and sort of makes a motion off from far off. That looks like, stop for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of points off off the beaten path a little bit. You can see there's a little hut, and he's trying to motion you towards it.
Yeah, and I'm taking the signal, and I'll go towards that hut instead.
Okay. Yeah, you open the door. Hold on, what was this woman saying?
If this is a trap, I'm gonna be so upset.
And you see this is where Sarah McFerrin has sort of set up for the day. It kind of looks like you can see her counting over something, some barrels and crates. This is like a little field house, right? So it's just like a little shack in the middle of some fields that have already been harvested, given the time of year. And she says, as soon as you open the door, she sort of pulls up a crossbow at you, and sort of lowers it.
Oh, morning to you, Sarah.
And he goes, "Hey, Father Leon, how are you?"
Whew. I suppose I've been better. Nothing but stress. I don't suppose you've heard about what happened in town last night?
I, some a little bit.
Well, a little bit of it's got heated. We've rescued Martin. And I believe we have the rest of his men on our side. I think now's the time.
He says, "Aye, and what do you have planned for me?"
Well, quite simple. My plan is currently that we can move our forces inside of the castle, and from there, we take out the Graph. And after we've done that, we must merely weather whatever siege comes our way. I believe the mercenaries should move on afterwards, though I'm not sure what they would do if they would give up. They may choose to hurt the town.
Aye. They may. I'm gonna send my people on for now.
Of course. But what is it of... well, what can you spare?
She says, "I'll come with some of the young firebrands who want to stick some to the tall folk."
Well, if we're lucky, perhaps there'll be plenty of sticking to do.
Aye, sounds like a plan.
And hopefully, once the Graph is changed, the mercenaries are gone, things will be better for all of us. I don't think that'll be the end of the work.
Aye, neither do I.
And I'll go ahead and give her like the more straight description of like, here are some tunnels we used before. It's possible they might be patrolling them, but here's where the back door to the castle is, and under cover of darkness, it shouldn't be too hard to get in there.
I will be there as soon as you need me. About so I guess she asked, "What time do you need us to be there?"
Right. I'll go ahead and tell her that the plan is to be there at around dinner time. So as soon as the sun gets towards that point, we'll need to be ready.
Aye, sounds good.
You've been holding out well out here, though. In the meanwhile, I hope.
Aye, it's been good. It's been good.
I'm glad to hear that you're safe. Out of curiosity, I don't suppose you've seen that Zaid fellow, have you?
No, haven't got a card of him.
Huh. It's very strange. I already got his blown out of his home not long ago, and afterwards I'm not really sure what happened to him. I don't necessarily like him, but I am worried about what may have come of him, especially with all the things underneath the town.
I not sure. And he's never been a kind of he's never been a he's never been the type to consort with us.
I see. Well, that's unfortunate. Well, perhaps I will see what I can do. In the meanwhile, I'll see you tonight. Alright, so Genevieve.
Yes.
You've never really mentioned that Zaid was like down in the tunnels, did you?
I'm pretty sure I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, me and Rutherford were like, dude, we found Zaid, and he would not open his door.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's like explicitly told Father Leon ever about it.
I don't remember. Well, she'll probably tell you now if you don't remember. She'll probably be like, oh yeah, Zaid's down in the tunnel somewhere, and he's probably fine.
Oh, wait, really? He just lives down there?
I don't know. I found a door that led to somewhere where he was doing something.
He's not a halfling, he's a mole.
Anyways, I don't think he's in any danger. It seems like he has a...
Well, he is an alchemist. Maybe, perhaps, he would know what to do about the cannons.
That's a possibility.
If you're willing to lead me through the tunnels to where you remember him, maybe we can attempt to talk.
It'd be a risk, but hopefully we don't find anything under there.
I hope not as well.
From where we are, is there a way to the tunnels? Or I know if we go to the field, the dead body field.
Yeah, you could. I mean, like you could try and sneak into them, but you did just cause the church. Like,
yeah. I'd be like, are you sure, Father Leon? I mean, right now we just left there after the church tried to kill us. I don't know.
Well, I'll be honest, I'm not sure about quite a lot of things these days. I'll take it on your own judgment. Should we pursue it and try to find Zaid or not?
Look, I'm pretty sure he's okay. The last time I was in the tunnel, but like even the witch hunters or anybody who went through there got lost pretty easily. So, heck, we got lost in there a couple of times with me and Rutherford. So I think he's okay.
Well, it's not so much that he's, if not he's okay, but we could use maybe his expertise. It would be at least worth attempting, and, well, we have a whole day to burn. Unless you have some other idea we can work on in the meanwhile.
I wonder who's paying the mercenaries? Do you know? Is it the bishop?
The Graf.
The Graf?
Yeah. He founded the company.
Mhm. It's going to be hard convincing them to do anything at this point.
There are the bandits out in the woods, if I recall, but I believe you said you didn't have a great reputation with them.
What bandits and what woods?
Well, if you take a look at this map, you'll see that there's a bandit camp. Dorgan's camp.
I don't think I know them, actually.
I think Rutherford said that they did a deal at some point and it didn't go great.
Oh, well, that means he talked to them about something. I don't know exactly what it was. So.
Right. Well...
Yeah, I don't think I was there for that talk.
Well, Lady Dorgan is there, and as I understand, she is their leader. And I've had some interactions with her in the past. Not exactly the best of interactions, to be honest, but I believe perhaps she could be bribed.
What's her deal? Like, what's her situation in this whole?
Well, some time ago, in the south, towards the region of the mountains, where one of the mountains lights with fire, there was a bit of an event, to say the least. Creatures of the abyss had something to do with it. The mountain had erupted, and the town was burning. And Lady Dorgan lost everything in the process. I did what I could to make sure that she was safe, and, not sure she appreciates the blow to the head I gave her so that she would stop yelling, and I could drag her out to safety.
Gentleman.
Nothing if not. But, as I said, she lost everything, and, I can't help but feel she will perhaps blame me for that.
Well, let's say we go to her camp. What do we have to offer her is more of the question.
Well, given that one of our friends is going to end up being the Graf and handles titles of nobility, it's very possible we could offer some true position back in town, some material wealth of it.
Does that mean we have to bring Rutherford with us?
I hope not, but I think Rutherford would go along with it. I think he just wants to be important, if I'm being honest.
I mean, I feel the same way. So,
Though,
yeah,
the...
I
Go
think we can go talk to her. Maybe if we tell her of our situation, maybe she'd be more willing to join us.
There is the one complicating factor. I believe I had heard that perhaps she was doing tolls or taking money from the mercenaries or had some arrangement. I'm not exactly sure what that is, though.
Wait, so she had arrangements with the merc?
Well, I mean, I think Lantra was either suggesting it or Rutherford did or something. I can't exactly remember.
Yeah, maybe Rutherford suggested it because he was with them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If they have any sort of arrangement with the mercenaries already, it will be difficult, perhaps, to convince them.
But if we tell them that we're going to defeat the Graf, suddenly the money for the mercenary is going to be cut off anyways.
Mm-hmm. Well, they might not like having their monetary source taken away either.
Exactly. So, I mean, if they're not going to get paid, they're going to leave and move on and find somebody who's going to pay them. So, whatever deal she has with them might just die because they're going to probably move on.
Right. It's really hard to find the proper angle without already knowing their disposition, and if we wander in and they have a worse than normal disposition with us for any number of reasons, we might have to run very fast.
True. I have to consider, do I want to face a ice monster or do I want to face a bunch of bandits? Which one?
It's so difficult to decide, isn't it?
It's so hard to decide how I want to die.
We could, of course, also simply hide until the night and join our friends at the castle and proceed with the plan with what we have already and hope everything goes perfectly well, which no plan ever truly does.
No.
There's actually a lot of factors to keep in mind with all of this.
Alright, maybe I suggest that we try the camp and see what the feel is and figure out what their position is. Maybe it won't piss her off. I don't know. Maybe if you remind her that you saved her life.
Oh, we could see how well that goes. Well, if you're willing to give it a shot, I'm willing to give it a shot.
I'll give it a shot. Let's see what happens.
Then I suppose we're gonna start heading into that neck of the woods. there's not a lot to really stop us, I think.
I
We
don't
could
think
just
so.
take the long way all the way around and be fine, I think.
Yeah, or even go through the woods and through the corpse field and get there.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm gonna take my horse.
Okay. You're just gonna ride out to the corpse field. They're heading to the encampment.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, you find out a lot of resistance. The sort of like shouting from Bob Stout probably tells you that like they're mostly focused on turning the town inside out at the moment.
Hmm.
Um, although there's like a few times where maybe you have to duck and hide your face around some mercenaries who just don't give a fuck. But
Okay.
as you're slowly sort of approaching on the road, you notice there's like a checkpoint set up. There's there's an overturned cart and some barrels and some ruffian-looking folks who begin to stop you and say, "That's a mighty fine horse. I believe you owe us a toll. It's 1 silver shilling pass. And actually, there's 2 of you, so make it 3 silver shillings."
Father Leon is going to, first of all, go ahead and take out 2 silver shillings and just give it to them. And say, we're not here for any trouble at all.
He looks unsatisfied, but
No fighting us, whoops.
and they're like, "All right, well, continue on, I guess."
Well, if you wouldn't mind, could we speak with you for a little bit?
It's a silver shilling a minute. And he looks at the other guys and he
Well, we'll see
snickers.
how long it lasts then. And I give him a wink.
He goes, but in all seriousness, last guy who said that, and there ended up being a big forest fire.
What?
A forest? Who would be so foolish and reckless as to do something like that? Well, needless to say, I have no intention of starting any fires. But I have to ask, you work for Lady Dorgan, do you not?
Yeah,
Is she well these days?
she's all right. Bit burned up though.
Oh, and flashbacks just occur in Father Leon's eyes for a moment. I can imagine so. Um, I don't suppose. Perhaps she's interested in seeking visitors from the past.
No, not really.
What if I offer another silver shilling?
Right, audience with Lady Dorgan now cost you. He holds up his hands and he starts, counting all his fingers. 5 silver shillings.
I say,
And we're gonna watch you make sure no fires start.
and she looks at him and she's like, "Did you count that right?"
And the other guy looks at his hands and he's lost a finger at some point. And he goes, 4 silver shillings. 4.
she gives this guy 4 silver shillings.
Right.
This is highway robbery, sir, don't you?
Right. Come on then. I'll take you to her.
Alrighty.
Okay, and I suppose we're following along.
Okay. Yeah, you come to this and then you notice it doesn't take long to walk when you start noticing this still kind of a ashy part of the forest that caught on fire. Um, and you come up to this area where this obviously burned out camp was, and there's sort of a new shitty camp set up across from it. And there's a lot of angry outlaw types, but there's not that many people here. Making a rough guess, probably less than 15. And they do some handoffs and talking. Hey, this guy wants to talk to the lady, and she they lead you to a tent, and she's sitting in there. She has some horrible burn scar on her face, and you hear one of them say, "Well, we were looking for him, ma'am, but we lost him in the bobsled somewhere." And as soon as you come in, she looks up, and she sees you, Father Leon, and you can see her burned face, and she scowls at you, and says, "Oh, Father Leon, so you've come to see if you can take anything else from
Nothing of
me?"
the sort, my lady Dorgan. In fact, I came to see if you were well. I had heard that you were out here, and of course I was concerned for your well-being.
Right. Well, that's I guess I'm fine. After you led me to lose all my money. And now I've been robbed again. And here you are, showing up. Please tell me, Father Leon, is there anything else you'd like to take from me?
Robbed, again? Did something happen to you just now?
A while ago, some fools into my camp, and they made off with some rather interesting looking bounty. It was apparently valuable enough to set my camp afire.
I see. This is unfortunate news. I'm sorry to hear. But I suppose I should be forthright. I'm aware of how you feel. You've said as much. And I believe I am here to try to make amends to that to you in some way, if you would be willing to hear me out of it.
I uh what what do you have in mind? And it better be good because I'm in no mood.
Of course, of course. Let me begin by asking, you are keeping an eye, of course, on the town of Bobstadt, and you're well aware of its situation right now, are you not?
I could say that.
I see. And you've undoubtedly heard of the mercenaries there too, as well.
I
What is your take on that situation right now, may I ask?
Well, we had a good thing going till someone burnt down our camp. But right now, the roads are clearing up. Folk are heading in, but they're not heading home, so we can't rob them again on the way out. We're probably reckoning to move on soon. Probably head down south, see how the rest of the camp plier trade someplace else in the war.
What if I said that there was both your trade to ply here, and, for you personally, a way for you to recover all that you had once lost? Title, land, money?
Make a charm test. Make it normal because she still hates you.
Because
But
she still hates me.
But like you said, like money, land, titles, all those things.
Right. Also doing a quick double check to see, did I spend my experience? Oh, I completely forgot to expend my experience. I think I was going to get incantation. But no, I have that. I'll figure out what I bought later. I can't double up on charm. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and hit charm button. 16.
And she says, "All right, I'm listening."
Well, as you perhaps are aware, or maybe have heard, the late Graf had a niece, and they have since gone missing. I'm here to tell you she has actually been the target of assassinations. And where perhaps her assailants dealt with once and for all, she would be very grateful once she attained her true position.
La cámara está desconectada, dice.
Why? And what do we gotta do?
Not very much. There is going to be some excitement coming soon. I believe you will recognize it when it happens. But needless to say, the mercenaries will perhaps be very interested in accomplishing a certain objective. All you would have to do, and all that I would ask, would be to first to harass the mercenaries at such time, when it comes in the future. And secondly, to make sure that when they leave, they don't burn the town to the ground on their way out.